The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
It's the bonus show. There has been a record global haul of illicit food and drink, more than 10,000 tons to be exact, including monkey meat. Biggest crackdown ever, global crackdown on goods like this.
Why am I repulsed by the idea of monkey meat? I mean, it's like we've had this conversation. It's sort of arbitrary. If you eat animals, what's the difference? But monkeys and whales, I don't know. They're very smart.
Intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never eat a monkey. I mean, okay, my life depended on it. Okay, maybe I would, but under normal circumstances that I hope to find myself in life, I would not eat a monkey.
And hopefully you never eat monkey meat.
Accidentally,
right. This 3-month operation involved police forces in 57 different countries. Incredible. The raids uncovered enough fake alcohol to fill 12,000 baths, including 10,000 liters of adulterated liquor in the UK. Italian officers found 85 tons of olives painted with copper sulfate to enhance their green color. The Interpol initiative is in its 5th year, and I guess this is what this ultimately they are the reason this effort was successful. Monkey ribs. Oh, this picture of monkey ribs. It just looks disgusting. Europol says the counterfeit goods market is a multi-billion-dollar industry, criminal industry, partly driven by rising food prices.
Yeah.
Checks at airports identified travelers importing illicit products, such as several kilograms of monkey, seized by officers at Zaventem Airport in Belgium. Going through Belgium with the monkey meat. 9 tons of sugar contaminated with fertilizer. That was seized in Khartoum, Sudan. 70 kilograms of chicken intestines preserved in formaldehyde. Police in Greece discovering 3 illicit factories producing counterfeit alcohol. And if Dan is listening, maybe that's what you were sipping on in Greece. French officers destroying 11 kilograms of locusts, 20 kilograms of caterpillars. Unless those were adulterated in some way. That's actually pretty healthy stuff.
I wonder, though, not that, because you would sort of know if that's what you're eating. But when we hear these stories in the U.S., I think it's generally common that people assume this stuff would never even potentially end up here. But is it possible that some of this stuff ends up in the U.S.?
Yeah. Those olives look pretty unassuming. And it might just depend on how thoroughly vetted certain distributors are and things like that.
I would also guess, and when I say guess, I don't mean because I think it's more likely to be true, but my guess would be if this stuff is in the U.S., you would be more likely to encounter it at fast food chains than you would at individual restaurants. But that may be a false assumption. I don't know.
Maybe the opposite. Because they vary. While much of their stuff is crap, they carefully control the crap that's coming to them.
Right.
If that makes sense. A lot of honey tested in Australia had been blended or adulterated. A Bolivian police finding a warehouse with thousands of cans of sardines and fake labels of a famous Peruvian brand ready to be stuck on them.
Yeah.
It just, the list goes on and on.
Yeah. Got to grow your own food. Can't trust anything that's packaged. Any package, any label on it could be a lie.
I would love to grow my own food. That is a goal of mine.
Right.
Not everything I eat. That would be far too difficult. But some veggies at least. That's basically the whole story. I'm glad someone is cracking down on this. It's a far better investment than cracking down on pot and cocaine,
right?
In my opinion, because no one's giving you cocaine. And how do I put this? There may be crap in your cocaine, but someone's asking for cocaine and getting cocaine.
Right.
If
there's presumably still cocaine, it's presumably still cocaine.
Yeah. Might have some stuff cut with it, but yeah, no reason to crack down on adulterated cocaine when we can crack down on adulterated food. All right. People know the risks when they're doing cocaine. Pele, football legend, and I mean
Soccer.
football,
Yeah.
soccer, not American football, is suing Samsung for $30 million over the use of a lookalike in an ad. He is claiming that, or the lawsuit claims, that they used an image that was of his likeness and included a move that was one of his signature moves that he used
Yeah, that's true.
frequently. Yeah, it is true. And so that is the lawsuit. And when I read this, I thought to myself, is this just Pele now someone who makes most of his money off product endorsements? Is this someone who is this a cash grab?
Right. In other words, a company was able to probably pay a guy who looks like Pele way less than what they would have to pay Pele to be in their ad. And so he believes that it was a way to sort of use his likeness in order to save money by not actually paying him what he would earn. The question is playing soccer like Pele, if you sort of look like Pele, any kind of violation when it comes to intellectual property? And I don't know that it is, right? Because people are allowed to play soccer however they want. And given that, if by mere chance you look like a soccer player and you play soccer in a way that is reminiscent of a soccer player, you're just a guy playing soccer, right? I mean, I think that this is a tough one to prove.
That's going to be Samsung's legal defense.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic here.
Yep.
They did not state that this is not Pele. I mean, it's not Pele, but they didn't say this. It's not like there's a disclaimer at the bottom of the ad or picture.
Yeah, but they're also not saying this is Pele. It's an ad for a product, right? I mean,
but it is, but they are in a way trying to make people think that it's Pele.
it's very hard to prove that, though.
It's hard to prove that. Maybe you can't prove that. Maybe it's impossible to prove that in a court of law. But that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And no one is going to deny that's what they're trying to do. Of course, that's what they're trying to fucking do.
Well, they're going to try to deny it.
They're going to say that whatever they're going to say, hard to prove, but clearly they wanted someone who looked exactly like Pele and was doing a Pele move.
I
to try and
totally
make
get
you think
what
like
they're
Pele
doing.
Supports is
I
behind their
totally
product.
get what they're doing. I think Samsung has a pretty
Is it
good
worth
defense
$30 million?
here. That's
That's the question.
I don't think it is.
So Pele, perhaps you should do some type of commentating or something. He was in Subway ads recently, wasn't he?
He's doing all sorts of stuff. He's doing fine financially.
I suppose. But $30 million, man.
That's what you ask for.
If you're trying to set a precedent here and make sure that no one is doing this with your image and likeness, maybe that's where you have to start.
Yeah.
Okay. A sex worker caught by a drone with a camera operated by a drone vigilante has pled guilty to lewdness. This is a Brian Bates who used a drone to film her, but this is a guy who is a self-described video vigilante who over the years, this is the first time he's used a drone, but has been using his camera to film criminal acts and get people in trouble and arrested.
Right.
Now, I don't have a problem with this type of thing.
If it's in public, if you're filming legally, then who could say he's doing something wrong by exposing crimes?
Well, here's my problem with this particular case.
I have a problem with this particular case also. I wonder if it's the same one.
If this is happening in some alley and it's not in plain sight, it's not in public sight, what is he really doing here except getting someone who's already in deep and not in a good situation even deeper when this person, in my opinion, is really not doing anything immoral or harmful?
Well, so that was not going to be my question. If you're in an alley, it's still a public place. So I don't think you can say places that are public but less obvious are somehow different than places that are in public and are in plain sight. If it's a public place, it's a public
believe
place.
me,
That's number one.
I know it's against the law.
Number two, my problem is all of the stories about this are about the sex worker getting in trouble. And this is the bigger, broader problem in the world of sex work, which is the disproportionate focus on the sex workers and not on the individuals who were also breaking the law.
The Johns.
But the Johns, and going and procuring sexual favors in exchange for money. So, yeah, we can have the debate over whether sex work should be legal or not. We've heard the arguments on both sides that by making it legal, you actually can protect women and blah, 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 blah. And the counter is no, you're actually sort of legitimizing work, which in any case is going to actually subjugate disproportionately women. You can have that conversation. But even in this case, what about the John? This is the exact issue that I've been observing for so long with these cases.
Well, as most people know, I believe this should be legal. So I say don't go after either of them. Why make life even more difficult for either of them? But that's one part of this. But then the video vigilantism, I get that. If you're not doing anything illegal, fine, but don't be a fucking asshole and go after prostitutes. Yeah. Come on. If you want to bust people, let's get some violent criminals on camera. Let's get something serious here. Don't just be a fucking loser and go after prostitutes. On the other hand,
yeah,
if you see Ted Cruz with this prostitute, by all means, have at it.
Have you been following that with the Rachel Maddow stuff?
No.
She says the DC madam, she's been teasing that the DC madam has information about the procurement of sex, what would you call it? Hiring sex workers.
Yeah.
That would impact the current Republican race. And I don't know if and when this is going to go public.
Who's the DC madam? Some like underground.
The DC madam, the well-known, DC sort of what would they call it? The
escort service or something.
Escort service, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, she should stop teasing and just get the fuck out there.
Yeah.
And so the third part of this story, that would be amazing, is another interesting use for drones happening now. So watch out for that. Also, this story reminds me of the movie Nightcrawler, which I told you to watch, and I don't think you've watched it yet.
This is the Jake Gyllenhaal one?
Yes, where it's a little bit different from this, but it reminded me of Nightcrawler. Amazing, amazing movie. One of the most tense movies. It's just so gripping, so well done. Jake Gyllenhaal, his best performance by far. Everyone's got to see Nightcrawler. It's so good. Anything to add?
Nothing today.
Okay. Was I going to say something about the Ted Cruz stuff?
You want to talk about your coffee?
It's got to be, yeah, okay, I'll talk about the coffee. So there's a little coffee bicycle cart that is going to be in the building now. And today they're just testing it out. It's just a dry run. And so...
They go all around Boston, but they're going to be here like a certain number of hours a week.
Yep. And I got a cappuccino. And it's really very good. And it was free today.
Is it nutty?
I don't know how to describe it. Okay. It's delightful. So what was the name of it? It was the something trike, the coffee trike, or I just want to promote them. I want to give them a shout out. The name is escaping me.
You're doing a great job, though.
But it's a coffee cart bicycle. I think it would be hard to miss. If you see it, they might be the only one in town.
It can go in and up and down the elevator. They said it just barely fits into... The elevator here is pretty big. It's almost like a freight elevator-sized elevator.
Yeah.
And they said it just barely fits in there. And then they can, bike around the whole thing.
It's good. It's good. Good coffee. Good to have here in the building.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.